Welcome. Hello. I'm so glad that you joined me. Welcome to my office once again. And today, what I'm going to talk about and teach about is intuition. Is that exciting? I love the subject of intuition because it's kind of a mysterious thing. I mean, we've heard of women's intuition, and I think that to some degree women have a deeper form or maybe a more attuned form of intuition because we're a little bit more sensitive or tend to be more aware than men are. But it doesn't mean that men don't have it. Men definitely have it, and especially men who actually work on cultivating their intuitive abilities. Intuition is not something that is biblically defined as a gift from God, but it is something that has been ingrained in each and every one of us as a human being. It's God-given, but it's already instinctively there. It's kind of like something that has been given to us as human beings for our knowledge, for protection, for a lot of different reasons, especially protection. Intuition comes in handy. I want to first of all just define intuition. I looked it up in the dictionary just for a lack of words. I like to just say it's a gut feeling, but I wanted something that was a little bit more elaborate than that. So let's read it to you. And this is what the definition, the dictionary says about intuition, that it is a thing that one knows from instinctive feeling rather than conscious knowledge or reasoning. So, in other words, intuition bypasses the conscious mind. It's something that is almost an unconscious thing that happens. It kind of filters through the unconscious mind. And this could be a message that comes from God that is very intuitive, something that is a warning. And let me give you an example of that. What if something was happening in a grocery store and you drove up and you got out of the car, were walking through the parking lot, and all of a sudden, as you approach the door to enter into the store, something happens. You have this feeling all of a sudden, this foreboding, this kind of check inside of you that says, nope, we're not going there. If your intuition has been cultivated, if you really are listening to your body, if you're tapped into, mindfully the unconscious, if you're just really conscious of how God is guiding you spiritually, and you do a lot of spiritual work, you clear yourself daily, you don't have a lot of negativity. I mean, your intuition could be really attuned to some of the things that are going on ahead of you, and you could be stopped right there. And if you're listening to your intuition, you will back up, and you may not know consciously what's going on inside the store. You don't have to have the details if you learn to trust your intuitive abilities, and you back up and you get into the car, and maybe you drive away or drive at a safe distance. You might find out that something's going down in the store that you don't want to be a part of, that might be harmful. Intuition is very protective that way. The Bible says that our God goes before us. This is one way that we can be guided by God, who goes before us and, protects us from things that we might walk into. He won't let us walk off the edge of a cliff. We have this gift that He has given inside of us already that goes before us. And if we cultivate that gift along with our spirituality in Him, we can really, really know things before they happen. This is not psychic ability, but it is an ability to sense things that go beyond the conscious mind. It comes through an unconscious filter. Or what Carl Jung, a Jungian psychologist, he is the one who fathered or fostered the Jungian psychology and many other things, but he came up with what he defined as the collective consciousness. That is our oneness. That's the oneness that Jesus talked about when He said, Father, let them see that they're one. Let them be one as you and I are one. We are like this. I want them to see that they're like this as well. Collectively, if we're really attuned into our intuitive abilities and maybe some of the gifts of discernment that God gives to us, we can collectively know and understand and have knowledge about other groups of people and other people in the room. There are a lot of ways that we can actually cultivate intuition, and some of the ways I'm going to talk about right now in this video. And so I hope that this is awesome information for you. Unconsciously, and the unconscious mind can filter through a lot of things during our dream state, and that's why dream interpretation and watching our dreams and journaling our dreams is so important, because the unconscious mind likes to play during times that we're sleeping, because the conscious mind has no barrier that's set up that defines or puts in negativity or tries to analyze anything that comes through. We can do the analyzing later. We can kind of look at something later on as they come through the unconscious mind through our dreams. And some intuitive information can come through our dreams. They might be warnings from God. They might be things that are of our past that we're not aware of, that are just coming through our unconscious mind on a daily basis, and they come into our consciousness, and they kind of interrupt our conscious living. They don't do that to be rude, these things of the past that are a part of us. They're comprised of thoughts and feelings and emotions and experiences. They do it for your benefit. It's not that God set up this system so that it can trip you up. God gave these abilities to us, and the ability to tap into these things and understand them so that we can heal from them. And when we start to see them filter into our conscious mind, or our conscious life, or even our conscious mind, because our mind can receive from the unconscious while we're awake as well. And if we're not attuned to learning how to pick up on those things and how to just resolve them and heal them, then it's almost like we're going through the world blindly and letting the unconscious mind doing the driving. Would you go blindly driving? Would you go and get into your car in a sleep state and go driving and trust your unconscious mind to tell you where to go? Because it's full of stuff. I mean, it's got stuff. You've got stuff. And it comes from all of your experiences, the good and not so good. And once again, those are labels, but experiences are experiences. And your unconscious mind is going to throw in the closest experience to what's happening to you currently consciously in your life. I know that's a little deep right now for just talking about intuition, but I just felt like I needed to explain part of that. But collective consciousness is really cool as well, because it gives us also the opportunity to intuit things about other people. Like, for instance, telling if they're lying, or maybe knowing that they're going to do something, or something is going to happen. Maybe they're approaching us and we get this gut feeling something happens, and we just intuitively back up away from that person, or we back away from a human being that we met and decide we don't want any contact. It's a warning. Or maybe intuitively we feel like there's somebody that we just feel we just meld with. There's somebody that we aspire with or inspire with, or that we can actually cultivate some creativity with. And we feel those things too. Intuition is a part of that magnet that goes along with the law of attraction, right? So, we can just kind of intuitively pick up on people and what they're about. Quite often, somebody will kind of come into view, all of a sudden a new neighbor or somebody has just kind of walked into my life or into our lives, and I'll think, there's something about that person I don't want to come closer. And then I'll do a little bit more investigation, and I'll understand consciously why. And when you do these types of things, you come to actually learn to trust your intuition. Learn how to trust it, test it, because it is faithful. It's a part of you. It's a part of God creation inside of you. It's part of the image of God in you. So, in other words, trust what you are feeling and sensing and cultivate that inside of yourself. There might also be someone who comes into your life and you go, wow, what is it about that person that draws me to them and causes me to want to know them more? And, it may be a love feeling, it may be just a recognition, like a soulful recognition. We tend to attract to ourselves who we are and what we are. And we might not always be conscious of those things, but people sometimes come into our lives and mirror things to us. And sometimes they mirror the not so good things. And sometimes they come into our lives and mirror the great things about us. And we might kind of look at someone and think, wow, there's something creative about that person, about that human being, and I want them closer to me because I feel like we can create together, or there's something, maybe we can be great friends, or maybe they're a God connection. Maybe they have the solution to one of our problems. So, we can intuitively pick up on those things about human beings as they approach us and come into our lives, right? So, there are a few things that we can do in order to cultivate some of our intuition and just kind of bring that a little more out in our life. Put it to the test. Make it part of your focus. And remember, what you focus on becomes bigger in your life. So if you're focusing on love, you're going to attract more love into your life. You're going to see love everywhere. If you're focusing on intuition, you're going to start seeing more intuitive things in your life, and you're going to start sensing some more intuitive things. And you'll start to see that it just isn't just a gut feeling. It is kind of comprised of every part of you. You can hear that still small voice that people say is God's voice. And, it's kind of like a speaking that goes beyond the brain. You haven't really cultivated this within your knowledge. You can sense and feel something with your body, and I call that my gut instinct or gut intuition. There are a lot of things that are kind of a part of our intuitive abilities, and they kind of work together. But in order to foster them, we want to do a few things. There's one, we want to listen. Train yourself to listen. Whether you're talking to other people, or whether you're listening for God and talking to God and listening for answers, whether those answers are going to come through that still small voice, or whether answers are going to come through experience and through collective consciousness. God is going to touch somebody else and move them into your life, and they're going to blurt something out that might be the answer to something that you have a question about. So pay attention, when you're talking to others, and listen really, really deeply as they speak. Not just for answers of things that maybe you're asking God for, but when you're in communication, when you are conversing with another human being, train yourself to listen deeply. Ask yourself the questions. What are the things that are behind these comments? What are the things that are going on inside this person? And just pay attention. Look at their body language. Look at their countenance. Are they happy or sad when they're speaking these words? Are their brows kind of furrowed? What's going on with that person? Body language speaks a lot to us. A lot of times we unconsciously don't realize what we do when we do talk. And sometimes when we mirror each other, if we kind of sit down and talk with another person and say, I want to be your mirror, will you be mine? Tell me what my body language is saying to you. And let someone else be your mirror, and kind of test those kind of things so that you can become also more aware of what you do while you're speaking and what you're revealing about yourself, as well as becoming aware of what other people are revealing about themselves. And it's really important, once you attune that communication ability with your intuition, it gives you that insight into what type of person is standing in front of you, or that you have in your life, or that you're communicating with. So, Think about some of these things. I know they seem like they're a lot of work, and they might be just slightly, but they can be very investigative as well. If you're a very curious person, like I am, and you're very investigative like I am, I like to know stuff about all of these mysterious things. I think they're awesome. I like to kind of test them. I have this spiritual kind of mindfulness, and I have this psychological mind. I tend to like to scientifically get into people's psyche. And I think that's something that God just kind of planted in me. I may have been a pastor, I may have been a counselor, and still I do spiritual counseling and all of those things. I am still a minister, but there's that psychological thing that God gifted inside of me that gave me this curiosity. I just have to know things about people, and I want to understand them. And what does that do for me? It makes me not only a more attuned person, more awake person, but it makes me a better teacher as well. So, I think it's all good. It's all God and it's all good. Whatever the purpose is, it becomes our passion. So, you might find your passion just by tuning into your intuition. There are a lot of things that your intuition can tell you. So, a few other things I want to just kind of bring forth. If you really want to be attuned and cultivate your intuition, you have to try to rid some of the negativity out of your mind. And this is a little tricky too, because we like to push negativity away. We think that that's the way that we process our negativity. We just go like this. I don't want to be a part of this. But if there's something negative that's coming from you, it's not just coming at you. Definitely you want to stay away from the negativity that's, in drama, that's coming at you in your life. And, don't become a part of that. That's not higher living. It's not higher consciousness living. It's not godly living. Stay out of drama. We don't need a soap opera in our life. We could turn on the TV and watch a soap opera if that's what we want. But, soap operas and dramas in our life, they just kind of create problems. But, if we have a negativity that's coming through our unconscious mind, that's something we want to pay attention to. We don't want to just push it away right away. We want to actually dig a little bit deeper and see where that's coming from. And if we can see where that's coming from, we can go the next step to ridding ourselves of those negative thoughts and things that might be kind of inhibiting some of our intuitive abilities, or maybe even inhibiting some of the success in our lives. Maybe those negative things might be inhibiting our relationships or filtering into our family connections. So you really want to pay attention to it. You can't just push away every negative thought. You want to know where it comes from. Be a little investigative, because again, if you want to cultivate your intuition, find out why your unconscious mind, or why God is bringing to you a message that tells you something that's negative. Not everything's coming from bad spiritual influences, even though they're there. You have to be receptive, even if they're there, and when they're there, you have to be receptive. There is a receptor that's actually drawing those things to you like a magnet. But you don't have to think of them as bad things all the time that you just need to push away, because they're meant to come into our lives in order to process them and grow as people and as human beings, to grow in love. That's our main objective, is we're supposed to grow in love. And that takes a lot. It takes work on ourselves. It takes maybe processing some of the past. It takes a lot of conscious listening and investigation into our own lives. And these are some of the practices we need to have in our everyday life. It takes prayer and meditation. It takes listening and feeling and sensing. These are all the things that God has given to us as gifts as human beings in order to get through this life. And our goal is to become a better image of His love on this planet. So think of it higher like that. It's not just to help you. It is to help you, but it's not just to help you as a person and grow and awaken, but it's also to help you be a part of God in the community and on this planet. And you can do that by your thoughts. You can do that by your actions. You can do that by giving. I mean, there are a lot of things, but sometimes we need to get rid of some of the negativity first. And so, let's work on some of those things, because they will inhibit our ability to be intuitive. So we don't want that to happen. Get rid of those barriers. Think of the negativity as something that you need to take a battering ram to. Like, I'm going to investigate you, and then I'm going to get rid of you because I don't want you in my life. I want to be a big picture of God's love on this planet. I want to be a part of the solution and not a part of the problem, right? Amen. So we also want to listen to God. We want to listen to God and that inner voice, that quiet voice that bypasses our conscious brain. We want to then go into meditative practices. Sometimes spontaneous messages come from God, and we want to be intuitively aware. If we're constantly listening and waiting for those messages, they'll come to you, and you'll know that those are spiritual messages, or messages that come beyond your consciousness, that are not a part of your conscious awakening, and they're not a part of your brain. That's something that's being cultivated by you. These are messages, and higher messages that come from God is God's voice that actually will come to you in order to activate your purpose in life, or maybe draw you towards Him, because He wants to help you to cultivate your purpose and grow in higher love on the planet, because that is our purpose. Love attracts love. So if you're loving and you're cultivating that lovingness inside of you, you're meditating on God and God's love, like a magnet, you come together and you can receive messages that come from God. And they come from, fostering your intuition is a real important practice in order to just kind of open up your heart to receiving spiritually from God during your meditative times and your prayer times. Don't be afraid of the word meditation. If you're not used to meditation, yes, we think of it as an Eastern religion type of a practice, but when we meditate, we're actually listening spiritually. We're listening to the unconscious mind, and we're listening to God. Meditation brings us back also to a mindfulness. It takes us out of a situation where might be chaos on the outside of us, and it draws us back into a certain focus. And if you're used to doing this, if you practice this on a regular basis, your meditative practices and your mindfulness will actually bring your focus a little bit more attuned. So when your focus is really attuned, your intuitiveness is in tuned with that focus as well. So you'll start to see things that you normally didn't used to see, or normally would not have seen, if you had not cultivated some of these things inside of you. And they're great. These types of things will help you, tremendously in life. Maybe a little bit later in life you come to appreciate them because you've lived more of life, and maybe you've made more mistakes, and you've learned how much those mistakes really hurt inside. And we want to heal from those hurts, and we want to clear ourselves so that we can become more of that perfect love that God gives to us. We want to be an image of His perfect love, knowing that in our body, it's true that we're not ever going to be perfect in this humanness, and our ego likes to kick in a lot of our stuff, but look for those things, and when those things happen and you are really actually paying attention, you'll learn to see that there are patterns of those things that happen, and you can actually draw those back in, reel them in, find out where they come from, and then kick them out. Okay, so another one of the things that I talked about and mentioned earlier is dreams, and paying attention to your dreams and actually writing them down, journaling your dreams, and kind of learning the practice of dream interpretation. There's a place where I can help you. My dissertation for my doctoral degree is dream interpretation, and it's very interesting, and it does work. I've actually interpreted a lot of my own dreams, and it really brings a lot of conscious awareness. It's the unconscious mind bringing either God information or past information or something that currently we need to pay attention to that we're not. And we need to understand why certain things are happening. Listen to your dreams, write them down, pay attention. They might look very abstract, but there are ways that I can actually teach you if you want to make an appointment in order to interpret your dreams that are very practical. And you'll be surprised what you can actually glean from your dreams, because you have that information highway that's coming from, spiritually what God created in our universe. And, there are things you can learn about God, about your spirituality, about yourself from your past, about your current purpose. Your dreams hold a lot of really magical, mystical type of things. And if you're really investigative like me, you're going to want to know about them. Some dreams look kind of wild, but, they have meaning. They're there for a reason. If we don't dream, let me put this out there just for a second, just to intrigue you. It's not about dreams here on this video, but I want to intrigue you. If we don't dream, if we're not allowed to dream, if our sleep is constantly interrupted for a period of at least 2 weeks, we're actually almost insane. We're at the point of having to be hospitalized. We need that REM sleep, that rapid eye movement sleep, so that our unconscious mind can filter through and bring us those dreams. We have to dream as human beings. To dream is to live. And this is information that I actually learned from the University of Sedona, from Dr. Leon Masters, and he just awesome. He has awesome information that he has taught through the university and other people through the university for many, many, many years. And the more I really explored listening to my dreams, I noticed that more intuitive I became, because when we start to pay attention to details, we become more attuned to watching for those details. Being intuitive is being aware. And that's one of the other things that I really wanted to impress upon you in order to cultivate intuition, is be aware. Know what's happening to your sides. Know what's happening behind you. And I'm not talking about the type of awareness that's paranoia, okay? We don't need to be paranoid. But be aware of your surroundings, both spiritually, physically, and emotionally. See what you're putting out there in your awareness. If you're putting negativity out there, be aware of that. If negativity is coming at you through others, be aware of that. Be aware of what's going on in your household. Be attuned to what's going on in the world and in life. As you walk out into the world, put yourself to the test. Put your intuitive abilities to the test. God, I'm going to be aware today. Help me to be aware. Help my awareness, so that when I walk out into this world, I can pick up on things around me like radar. And if you're really sensitive, this becomes a little bit more easy than, maybe for others who are not quite as sensitive or blocked off. But you can remove those blockages, and you can become more aware. And you have to be aware of your surroundings and what's coming at you and what's coming through you in order to cultivate your intuition. And it can be an absolute gift to you, I'm telling you. Live your life at ease. I can't even stress this one enough. Causing stress in your life will cause the biggest barrier, or allowing stress in your life will cause one of the biggest barriers to your intuitive abilities, or to any spiritual gift that you might have that God wants to give you. Not living your life at ease will actually hold you back from your purpose. It'll hold you back from growing in love. It'll hold you back by causing disease in your body, in your physical body. Living your life in ease means learning the practice of ease. Learning how to do breath work, learning how to meditate and calm yourself, your body, and your mind. Do mindful meditation and do research, just kind of scan your body. What parts of my body are stressed like this? We don't want to live in a tight knot. We want to live like this. We want to be that opening flower. We want our heart to live at ease. And so when there's constant chaos in our lives, whether it's being caused by a relationship, by ourselves, by someone else, a combination of both, something that's going on in our mind because our mind is belabored with maybe issues in our family or our work, maybe our job is putting us through stress. It's so important to de-stress. Stress management is one of the biggest things that you can do for yourself to help you not have a heart attack, okay? Stress is it will rip a tornado through your body. Learn how to live your life at ease. Let your mind be at peace. Meditate on peaceful things. God says, He tells us to meditate on good things. Meditate and pursue peace. That means hunt it down, chase it down, bring it into yourself. You want peace and tranquility and serenity. You want to live your life at ease and relax into your life. We all have stress. So if you fail miserably at this, don't judge yourself. Don't pound yourself down. Don't say it's impossible. Don't blame your situation on the outside of you. Your ease and the way that you have serenity and obtain peace doesn't come from the situation that's going on the outside of you. And let you think about that for a minute. Your lack of peace is not the chaos that's on the outside of you. Your lack of peace is the chaos you let in here and that you don't work on because it's there. That you don't actively decide, okay, there are issues I need to actually process so that I can have more peace of mind, peace of heart, peace of spirit, a soulful type of peace, a real deep peace. We have those things when we live our life in ease. Have you ever watched somebody walk across, maybe in a fashion show, the runway, and they just look like they're floating? Because they've learned, they've practiced how to walk that way. They walk with ease and with confidence, and they're relaxed. And have you ever watched someone stumble through that situation? It's not quite as beautiful when we're tense and, we're kind of strict and we feel stress, and, we tend to clump when we're not at ease. When our body is at ease, you feel that floating. It's not a woohoo feeling from the brain. It's just a relaxation. And it takes practice. Why? Because we have spent so much time allowing ourselves to be in dis-ease. So we got to reel ourselves back in. Do it. Reel yourself back in. Have a sense of ease in your life. It's so important. You don't have to sit on a mountaintop and go, okay? Being at ease means you're going to take the time. Even if it's just before you go to sleep, it's probably the best time. Just let your body float. Take account of your body, okay? It's like, all right, everybody. That's a part of my body, my heart, my muscles, my breath, my eyes, my jaw. I'm going to relax all of you. I'm taking account of you, and I'm going to live my life at ease, and I'm going to practice that. That helps our sensitivity. It helps us become more aware It also helps our intuition. Very, very good. So, we want to also be observational. I think I spoke about this a little bit. Observe body changes in ourselves and in others. If you have body changes that are going on inside of yourself that are physical, you're going through a lot of physical disease lately. Something is going on in your life that either is emotional, that you are mindfully taking on. Maybe it is negativity through your unconscious mind or in your life. You haven't been pursuing peace. There's something in your body that's screaming. If it's hurting, it's been stressing. You've been tensing it. You have been not practicing how to relax it, how to be in ease, and taking care of it. Taking care of your body and awareness and observation is also kind of seeing, kind of intuitively looking at your body and seeing what you lack, because we need to feed our body specific things. God only gives us certain things that we really need to have to live. We need to take in appropriate amounts of oxygen. Remember the breath work videos? If you haven't seen them, go back and see my breath work or anyone's breath work videos. We need appropriate amounts of water. Have this next to you all the time. Drink water all of the time. You need appropriate amount of nutrition. You need to take vitamins if you're not getting the appropriate nutrition through your foods and through whole foods. Try to eat as many whole foods as you possibly can. Now, for me, I really like some of my goodie things, some of my sweet things. There's a certain cake that comes from a certain store that's in the city that I live in. If it's there, I am so there with it. But, we don't have to deny ourselves in order to take care of our bodies. Just don't go overboard. Everything in balance. Everything in balance. I want to try to go a little bit further because I've gone 37 minutes, and that's kind of my record, almost. I think I've gone maybe 45 before, so we'll see. Be observational. Practice mindful meditation. So basically all of these things that I've mentioned, and let me just recap them really quickly for you. These are the things that you want to pay attention if you really want to cultivate the intuition and the intuitive abilities in your life. You want to spend time seeking out God and listening for God in that inner voice, that inner way that God speaks to us, or we want to pay a great deal of attention to what our unconscious mind is doing and spewing out of our mouth. Be observational and listen. Learn to listen, whether you're listening to God, to yourself, or to others. Okay? Zone out of the negativity, the drama that comes at you. Deal with the negativity in your life, because those things are messages that come to you that say you need healing in a specific area of your life. Journal your dreams. Learn dream interpretation. Come to someone who can teach you. Come to me. I would love to help you with your journal and your dream interpretation, because that's your unconscious mind telling you things about your life, and also higher things that come from God come through your dreams as well. So you want to journal those things. Live your life at ease. Observe your body changes, not just through yourself but others. Body changes in others, and the way that they hold their body can tell you a lot about another person. Body changes in yourself can tell you a lot about yourself. Are you grinding your teeth at night? Do you hold your jaw real tight? It tells you that you're under some stress. Body changes in that maybe you've got some deficiencies that you haven't been taking care of, that you haven't been feeding your body. Okay? Pay attention to those things. Be real observational. Be investigational. Okay? And be mindful. That means you want to take time to have some serenity in your life. Something might be going on over here that's causing chaos. Or maybe our head is just projecting all this stuff. All of a sudden we are thinking about all this stuff, this negative stuff, and before you know it, the information highway is just blocked and filtered through all of this junk. We want to reel ourselves back in. Remember, focus. We want to be mindfully focused. If you need to, you feel stress, you've got anxiety, you're going through a panic attack, do some breathing, some conscious belly breathing. Go into some mindfulness. Think of something beautiful. Think of God. Center yourself. Learn how to do those things. And, I want to tell you, it may seem like these things are a lot, but when you get used to living this way, it's not a lot at all. It's really just a shift in the way you live. And maybe for some of you, it might take a lot of things, maybe all of these things that you might have to practice, but some of you might be practicing some of them already, and maybe just some minor shifts. You need to be aware of what those things are. Analyze your life. Take a look at your life. If you're really young, like, in your teens, in your 20s, your 30s, everything below 50s and 60s is young to me. So, if you haven't lived a lot of years in this life, start your practice now. If you want to be attuned with your body, it's okay to do some yoga practice. You can learn a lot about your body by doing physical yoga practice every single day. You can find out where you're not at ease if you can't twist like this and turn your head all the way around. There's something going on back here. Are you tensing up your neck? Do you need to go see maybe a massage therapist, a holistic chiropractor? Are there things that are maybe emotional that are causing you to tense up like this? And so you feel like those muscles are all stressed out back there. Your life is not being lived at ease. So really take care of yourself. Foster all of these things. And ask God, help me be awake. Help me bring my intuition into a place that it is so attuned that nothing gets by me. Okay? When you have children, you get to know them so well because how you've observed them, you're with them, you spend time with them every day of your life, hopefully every day of your life. So when you look at those children and they do something and they've got an expression on their face, they've either they have done something wrong, or maybe they didn't do something they were supposed to have done. You spend time with your children. When you spend time with yourself, you learn your habits. You learn what other people might see, what God sees, that you might not have looked at because you don't want to. I want to encourage you. Want to. Look at your stuff, because you will do yourself and the people around you and the rest of the world a great favor, and a great blessing will come from you when you look at yourself and work on running the race to the very end. Do it with diligence, meaning you're going to practice. When a runner wants to win a race, excuse my stumbling, maybe I've gone on too long. Now I'm almost at 45 minutes. I'm going to reach my limit here, or maybe even go past it. But when you run a race, a runner practices, and it takes practice all the time to be good at what they're doing, because they want to run that race as close to perfection as they possibly can. They want to sense things around them. They want to be attuned with their body. They have a focus on the prize. And God has told us to keep your eyes on the prize. Run the race with diligence today. Run the race with diligence all the way through to the end. Take care of yourself. Take care of your body. and get that intuitive ability to be cultivated and attuned. Give it the nutrients and the things that I've spoke of that it needs in order to widen your scope, because life will become an amazing mystery that unfolds every single day of your life. Life doesn't have to be a drag. Is that good news? Life does not have to be a drag. And this doesn't mean that bad things or difficult things don't happen. They do. We are human. We have difficult things we have to process. All the more reason to practice being at ease, to cultivate your intuition, and to really take care of yourself as a human being. I think I've said enough. If you have any questions about any of these things that I've talked about today, about intuition or any of the other things, you can call me at any time at 832-484-8306. Or you can go on my website, JanineMarie.com, and you can watch some of the things that I post. I tend to try to maybe cultivate some of those things and change them a little often, at least as often as I can. Or you can schedule an appointment by calling me or by just going to my website. There is a scheduler right there, and you can schedule an appointment with me. It has all the information you need. If there's any questions that you have, you can certainly contact me and ask. And I'd love to tell you all about it and everything that I offer for you. God bless you. I just want to tell you once again, loving you from here. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Have an intuitive day and live your life at ease and be a part of that great opening of God love in this world. We need more of it. We need more of you. Bye-bye.